Hey, I'm Chelsea, and today I'll be going through every single game I played in 2024 and tier ranking them. This video is a little different than my other content. I tend to have my videos quite scripted, but I just wanted to kind of chit chat with you all and give you my honest thoughts on all the games that I played last year. So here we are with my tiers. So the first tier is Hall of Fame. These are games that I rank 6 out of 5 stars. They've been indoctrinated into my all-time favorites, and there are a couple that I had played last year, so excited to get into those. After that, we have Talented, Brilliant, Incredible, Amazing. These are games that are 5 out of 5. Excellent games. You should totally play them. After that, we have my 4-star level, which is A Solid Way to Spend Time. Again, a really great game, but maybe something about it wasn't necessarily my favorite. After that is my 3-star. It's just meh. That's it. It was a game that I played, and we're moving on. After that, anything that's lower than a 3-star, I probably stopped playing. So we have a tier for Did Not Finish, DNF. I don't know if I've heard people talk about DNFing games before. It's I think more popular in the book community. Like you read a book and you're not vibing with it, you just put it down. And I'm trying to normalize not playing games to completion out of spite. I did that in 2023 with Mineko's Night Market, so we don't have time for that. We're moving on. And then my final category is Try Again Later. There are some games that I played and maybe it wasn't the right time for me to play them. Maybe I wasn't playing them on the correct console. I still have more interest in that game, but I didn't actually play it enough to have a definitive impression of it. So I've also organized my games into some very high level categories. So the first set of games that we have are going to be cozy games, which I feel like cozy games as a genre has really expanded and is also now kind of vague, and it can really apply to a lot of different games. And then I also include mobile games because I am a big mobile gamer, but I'm really picky about the types of mobile games that I play because it can be a huge time suck in not a good way. And then after that, I have just this overarching category of adventure games. And then beyond these different themed genres, I also ordered the games in chronological order. So we're gonna get through the games that I played last January up until just this past December. So let's get into it. So the first game that I attempted last year was Palia, and Palia is an open world MMORPG that I did get through the story of, or at least just the introductory tutorials, and I just don't think MMORPGs are really for me. I'm just not motivated to play them, and it also feels really big. The game feels really overwhelming, and maybe for some people that means you have a lot of content that you can get through, and that's really fun and exciting, something that keeps you gripped for a long time, but I just got really overwhelmed. I also was playing it on my Switch. The performance on Switch is not good, and I definitely think that impacted my ability to enjoy the game. Palia, I think technically counts as a DNF. I played it a little bit. I played it for 2 weeks, and then I was like, this is it. This isn't good for me specifically. Next up, we have Disney's Dreamlight Valley. I have lots of feelings about Dreamlight Valley. I really enjoy the interactions between characters across different franchises and movies, but there are aspects of it, again, with performance, it's not really good on Switch. It is tolerable, but sometimes I'm playing and I'm like, this should not be taking this long to load. And the later levels of friendship progression can get pretty grindy. I wait until a couple of updates and a couple of characters get added, then I play it a bunch. And so I think I did that twice this year. But Dreamlight Valley is really solid for me, and so it's going to go into A Solid Way to Spend Time, aka 4 stars. Next up, we have Stardew Valley. I don't even know what to say other than it's a fantastic game. I played Harvest Moon growing up as a kid on my DS, and I played Stardew Valley right when it came out in 2016. And now I have a whole video series of Stardew Valley, my Perfection Run Challenge, which was really fun to make. It was a very big project, but if you really want some long Stardew content from me, there's that. And I'm excited to try Stardew Valley Expanded mod, hopefully this year. I said I wasn't going to make another big long challenge video, but I feel like playing Stardew Valley Expanded would be a nice way to get back into Stardew Valley, because now I feel like I've done not everything, but a lot going through perfection. After this, we have Animal Crossing. This is also another Hall of Fame game. I think I have over 800 hours in this. I think it's hard now because I don't think there's really a reason for me to go back. I completed my island early last year, so It doesn't feel like there's a lot of reasons for me to go back. I also did finish the bug and fish collections in the museum. I would love to finish donating all of the art, but I feel like art hunting is just like a different type of beast. We'll see if I ever manage to do that. If you want to watch my island tour, you can watch it here. I'm really proud of my little island. Next up, we have Spiritfarer, and this is another This is another Hall of Fame game for me. This is also my third time playing through it. I first played this while I was in quarantine. I moved to a different country during COVID, and for my job, they were like, well, if you're coming into our country, you have to quarantine. So I played Spiritfarer twice during that time. Like, I played all the way through, got to the end, realized that I did things out of order that prevented me from 100%ing the game, and so I just restarted right away because I was so in love with the world. Spiritfarer is a game where you play as Stella, and she is ferrying off spirits to death's door. It's a game that really deals with grief and loss, but it's also a resource management game. Has a beautiful story, beautiful music. I think the characters are really well written, and it deals with people who are dying in really interesting ways. I highly recommend this game. The fact that I got to like revisit the game, it still felt new because it had been a couple years, and that I got to have new experiences with those new characters was really special. Next up, we have MySims Cozy Bundle. This includes both the original MySims game and MySims Kingdom. I was someone who was really hyped for this because I remember playing MySims on my Wii when I was a kid. This is going in the DNF category. The mapping from Wii to Switch, it was so non-intuitive. The thing about the Wii is that you had a pointer because you had to point the Wii remote at your screen, and so you had kind of like a mouse-like feature, but there wasn't really any good way to make that happen on like a Switch Joy-Con. MySims felt, I just didn't like it. And I also realized that I don't think I made it very far when I was a kid. I think I probably only made it like a couple hours into the game. So it's weird because I remember the game really fondly, and I got really excited when the re-release on Switch came out, but now I'm like, I didn't make it very far. And then I also got to play MySims Kingdom. The controls for MySims Kingdom were a lot better. I liked that there was still building but less decorating in that game. And it was like fun to like interact with the different NPCs and stuff. I didn't make it very far, and I really haven't gone back to it since I made it past like the third island, so I'm like probably not going to go back to it. I wish that I waited, basically, and I got to hear more reviews from people who played the game before I bought it. But that's why you have me. I'm hopefully the person who can like tell you critiques about a game honestly. So next we have Tiny Glade. I, to be fair, did not spend a lot of time playing Tiny Glade. So we're going into try again later because I think it's a very beautiful game. I didn't spend enough time actually experimenting and trying stuff out, and it's really, I think, a really cool way to flex your creativity and see what's possible. I think the cool thing about the game is like if you want to make something, you could probably make it. But I have a hard time like imagining things. I'm really good at like following instructions, but I'm not so good at just creating things out of nothing. So I really want to give Tiny Glade another chance. I think the other thing is that you have to play it with mouse and keyboard. I tried playing it on my Steam Deck. There wasn't really controls for that. A lot of the times when I'm playing a game, I work at my desk all day, and so it's hard for me to justify continuing to sit at my desk as a form of decompressing from being at my desk all day. Does that make sense? I think when I'm in a different headspace and can kind of separate a little bit more, I think Tiny Glade would be a really great way to just like mellow out. Next, we have Lakeburg Legacies. This game, I wish I heard more people talk about it because it's really fun. And so we're going to put it in a solid way to spend time. Lakeburg Legacies is a game that is a mix between a town builder and a dating sim. You are responsible for building out your village with different shops and professions, things like farms and woodworking. But the way that you recruit new villagers to come into your town is through matchmaking. So you'll start with one villager, and then you will kind of try to find them a suitable, comparable romantic match. You also have to decide like, oh, maybe this person that originally is in my village is like a woodworker, and their perfect match is somebody who is a jester. And I'm like, I'm really early in the game. I don't need a jester yet. So I'm going to try to find somebody, maybe like a farmer, so we can grow food. And The dating sim mechanic is really cool. I have only played a little bit of this, maybe like 5 or so hours, but it was really, really fun. And I wish more people would play it because I think a lot of people would love it. Next up, we have Mario Party Jamboree. This is going in talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing. It's really fun, really solid. I've gotten to play with all different groups of people. I've played with my partner a handful of times, so 2 players really fun. I've played with my family over Christmas. I've played it on stream with one of my streamer friends. I've played it with like 8 people. We did like 4 teams of 2, and that was really fun and chaotic. So I wish it wasn't so expensive, Nintendo, but I also understand and I want developers to be paid well for their work. So next up, we have Minami Lane. Minami Lane is a game where you are tasked with running and designing a street full of shops to please the townies that live on your little street. You can customize the food items that are served at your restaurant. You can design the different houses. It's a very easy, relaxing game that gives you some objectives so you have something to aim for, but isn't very strict or difficult to play. I think it's a perfect little cozy game that you can play in under 5 hours. And so this is going in a solid way to spend time. Next, we have Stardew Valley. I don't even know how to describe this game, and it's going straight into DNF. It's a game of like resource collection and crafting and farming, but the objective, it's just so like hard to achieve. There's not really any like character development. I don't feel like the characters have any personality. I was like grinding through the game, collecting resources and crafting stuff, and then I realized I actually don't care about any of the objectives here because I don't know what we're working towards. Maybe I missed something with this, but I did put in like 10 hours into this game until I realized I didn't want to play anymore. So sorry, not really, but So now we're into mobile games, and the first mobile game that I played last year was Happy Color. Happy Color is a color by numbers game, so it's great for me, who's great with instructions and just has to follow the different numbers and tap them to color them in. I think this game would have been way more fun if I had an iPad and could use like an Apple Pencil or some type of stylus to like touch all of the different numbers, because if you're playing on your phone, you really got to zoom in order to see stuff. But it was still quite satisfying to play and to get lost in. It was perfect for me. It's free to play. There are ads on it, but I don't think it's like overly aggressive in any way. So we're going to put Happy Color into a solid way to spend time. Next, I have the New York Times games. I kind of like play these games on and off. Like I will have like a month solid where I play every single day and then I forget about it for a couple of months. I'm in a phase right now where I'm really only doing the mini games. So Wordle, Connections, Strands, and the mini. But sometimes I'll have periods where I'm doing the crossword every single day and I try my best to get the gold star. I also try my best, especially for like Monday and Tuesday puzzles, sometimes even Wednesday puzzles, to not Google anything and see if I can just like infer and figure stuff out. If you didn't know how the crosswords work, crossword difficulty is easiest on Mondays and hardest on Sundays. I can usually complete the first 3 days of the week without looking anything up, and then eventually I'm like, I don't know, I literally don't know what this reference is. I have to look something up. And I also try my best to Google my questions in a way that isn't exactly phrased like a crossword question, because then you just get the answer, and that's also not fun. So I'm gonna put it in talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing. 5 stars. Next up is Neko Atsume 2. I played the original Neko Atsume back in like, 2013, 2014. Right for me was the beginning of college. And it's just such a cute, unserious game. You just put out little trinkets and toys and things for cats to come play, and then you close the app, and when you come back to it, there'll be different kitties that you can collect and take pictures of. It's just really cute. And there are also some rare cats that you can get depending on like a specific item that you put out. For example, there's like a tent that looks like one of the Egyptian pyramids, and so there is a pharaoh cat that can come to your little house. I really love it. I'm gonna put it in a solid way to spend time though. I feel like I was really into it for a month and then I haven't really checked it much since then. And the cool thing about cats is that cats just do their own thing anyway, so I don't feel any sense of like responsibility if the cats are waiting for me, because if there's no food, they're not coming to my house. Versus like Nintendogs, I'm like, I just abandoned you, you know? Finally, for mobile games, we have Pokemon trading card game Pocket. I am someone who likes collecting stuff, and I don't really care at all about battling. I'm really just trying to fill out my Pokedex and get really cool full art cards. And there's great satisfaction in opening up card packs because you never know what you're gonna get. And I didn't really grow up playing or like collecting trading cards, so I don't have like a nostalgic association with getting a card pack in real life. And now I can play TCG Pocket for free and not spend any money and get all of the satisfaction. So I'm gonna put it in 5 stars because I think it's a 5-star game. All right, now for my final category, which is literally the rest of the games, are adventure games. Obviously, these games have like different subgenres that are way more specific to what they actually are, but I really couldn't find another way to classify them. So at the end of 2023, I started playing Dave the Diver, and so I finished it in 2024. And I think it was really fun, unique, not really like any other game that I had played before. I think the story was really funny. I liked the different aspects of diving and catching fish and figuring out this like weird storyline that's happening, and then like working at your your sushi restaurant with all the fish that you caught and unlocking different recipes. I think for as unique that it was, there was something about it that it just didn't put me all the way into 5 stars. I really don't know exactly what that is, but it is a very solid way to spend time. If you're interested in playing it, I think it's really cool. Next up, we have 2 Point Campus. I'm putting this in Try Again Later. I was playing this game on my Steam Deck, and there are control mappings for the Steam Deck, but I think it's a more of a point and click game. So I really want to come back to it because I really like those type of simulator games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, or I used to play the school version of that. Was it just School Tycoon? I loved that game. So I really want to get another chance to come back and sit down and play 2 Point Campus because I think I'm going to love it. Next, we have Baldur's Gate 3. This is going into Hall of Fame. It's adventure, it's role-playing, it's Dungeons and Dragons mechanics, and it was also a game that me and my partner did co-op for, so we share an office, so we're able to like play right next to each other. It was so fun to like figure out how to play this game together because we're both kind of new to D&D, to figure out our own ways to like communicate because we have different preferences and play styles, how to like balance like our desires for optimizing or romancing, or how do you make decisions about how you're going to progress the story. It was just such a unique experience to play it. So we did our first playthrough. It was like 100 hours early in the year. And then we recently started our second playthrough where we can now focus more on min-maxing our characters. And now we have a better understanding of spells and armor and stuff. So it's been really fun to get to do it again and to have a joint gaming experience. Okay, next up is Dredge. Dredge is a game where you are a new fisherman and you are exploring the kind of unsettling waters, catching fish and trying to figure out who you are because you don't really have any sense of self at the moment. And there are some spooky things that happen at night when night falls. I don't really do well with horror elements. I get really freaked out and find it difficult to keep playing, like actually move the controller and do something. There are things that make the game easier or ways to kind of avoid some of the really scary parts, but I enjoyed this game a lot and I don't think I was expecting that, so it's going into 5 stars. Next up we have Outer Wilds, and this is a game where the less you know going into it, the better. It is a puzzle game where you are playing as a new astronaut and you're trying to uncover like the mysteries of what happened to an ancient civilization that occupied your solar system ages ago. That's all I'm going to say about the game. The mechanics are really cool, like the space exploration is really nifty, and it is a puzzle game, so you're trying to put pieces together and figure out what happened. So this is a Hall of Fame game for me. It was a really satisfying game to experience and felt really special, and the soundtrack is incredible. So I highly recommend this game if you're looking for a new puzzle game. Next up, we have The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I remember playing so much Binding of Isaac when I was in high school. Binding of Isaac is a dungeon crawler game. You pick up all these unique power-ups. You are trying to escape your mom, who is persuaded by God to sacrifice you. It's really fun, and it gets really addictive to play and then see how your run is going and then see if you're going to need a restart right away or if you can salvage it. And then you get to the end of a run and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go back in because that was really fun. Next up, we have BioShock. BioShock is kind of an older game. I don't really gravitate towards first-person shooter games. BioShock is also semi-horror. It's like really not in my genre of games that I would gravitate towards, but I know of so many people who have said that this is one of their favorite games of all time, and I just needed to know. I needed to play. I needed to understand why that was. So I got to play this on stream for the first time, so you can see all of my reactions, and I'm really jumpy, so you get to see all my jump scares and whatnot. Yeah, I get it. The story of it is really compelling and really cool. The gameplay itself was difficult for me, both in terms of like shooting mechanics and also the suspenseful atmosphere of the game. It's not one of my favorite games that I've played, but I'm really glad that I played it. So it's going in a solid way to spend time. Yeah, what a treat. I really want to play BioShock 2 and Infinite, so if you're interested in catching those, I am planning to play those on stream sometime this year, so yeah, come and hang out with us. It's really fun over there. Okay, next up are 3 Kingdom Hearts games. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite game series of all time. I played it originally on the PS2 when I was like 8, and it is this interesting mix of Final Fantasy and Disney. You play as Sora, who is looking for his friends as they get scattered across different worlds, and he travels with Donald and Goofy, who are looking for King Mickey, and you are fighting off these different enemies and trying to save the different worlds. And the story is so confusing and convoluted, but oh my god, I don't know why. I just love it so much. I don't know how to describe it. I've always said that this is my favorite game series of all time, but getting to replay it has been really interesting because now I'm proving that to myself if that's actually the case. So Kingdom Hearts 1, it was really fun, really solid. I'm putting this as a solid way to spend time. It definitely feels older, even with the re-release, like the remastered version of Final Mix. It was just so nostalgic to play through this story and try things that I hadn't done before. Like there are a couple of secret bosses. There are some like interesting side missions with your gummy ship, which is like your aircraft that you use to travel the different worlds, which I didn't really ever do when I was a kid. So that's been fun to explore. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Re-Chain of Memories next, which I'm putting into meh. Re-Chain of Memories is the remastered version of the original Game Boy Advance version, Chain of Memories, and this game is more of a deck building game. I didn't realize until I was playing Re-Chain of Memories that the game is completely different. I did not like the deck building mechanic. It was really hard to balance like actually fighting enemies while also managing my deck. And the only reason that I put it in meh is because technically I did finish it. I think if I wasn't playing it on stream, I probably would have stopped playing it, but it's something that I did, and maybe I'll get heat for that, but yeah, Re-Chain of Memories is definitely not one of my favorites in the series. So another Kingdom Hearts game that I started, but I technically haven't finished, so I really don't know where to put it. We'll probably do try again later, is Melody of Memories, and this is a rhythm game that came out on Switch, so it's very different. It kind of like takes you through some key points of the stories through all of the Kingdom Hearts games, and it's an easy game to like pick up and put down because you just like progress through the levels. So I haven't spent the time to actually get through all of the different levels, so we're gonna try again later. I don't really have an opinion about it other than it's just really unique and so Kingdom Hearts. All right, a couple games left. Now we have Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I loved this game. It was so fun, and it's really hard for me to decide if it's a Hall of Fame game for me. I think it's just a 5-star game. It was like really solid all the way through. It was a fun adventure game. I didn't play the classic Zelda games growing up, so I don't have the nostalgia factor when it comes to playing Echoes of Wisdom, but I just thought it was really cute and well done. I loved the flexibility and problem solving that was similar to Breath of the Wild. Like if you have all these different items, use them in whatever way is physically possible in the game to accomplish your goals. That was really cool. And it was a solid adventure game where you where I hardly had to look anything up in order to finish anything, especially the different dungeons. I managed to find all the stamp guy stamps on my own, which I was really proud of. And then there were a couple of dungeons where I was like, I literally don't know how to do this or figure this out. So maybe like one or two things. But other than that, it was a really fun way to spend time. Next up, we have The Return of the Obra Dinn. This is an investigative game where you are playing as an insurance agent who is investigating what happened to the ship known as the Obra Dinn that was declared lost at sea months ago, but now has mysteriously reappeared at port. And all of the crew and passengers are missing. So you are trying to figure out what happened. You have this interesting stopwatch that when you happen upon a corpse, you can travel back to the moment which they died and try to put the pieces together of who was present, how did they die, where was this, and try to uncover the mystery through these different deaths. This game does have some suspenseful, borderline horror elements to it that I was not expecting. It was right on the edge of my tolerance, and I was way more curious about figuring out what happened that it allowed me to overcome my fear. I really enjoyed this game. And I'm just a sucker for really good puzzle games. Kind of challenging though, like pretty darn challenging. You have to infer a lot in order to put some pieces together. All right, the last game on our list is Fallout New Vegas. I technically did not finish this game until the end of January, but I wanted to feature it on here because I played it for like a solid month on stream, and I loved Fallout New Vegas. First-person shooter games are not really the genre that I gravitate towards, but I just loved how wacky the entire world was, because it's wacky. People are really odd. I feel like if you're surviving in a world post-nuclear apocalypse, I feel like it's a little bizarre. So it's just a really solid game. Another one of those games where people rave, like so many people rave about this game. And this game has so much replayability because you can make different choices that impact the trajectory of your story. I can see how people like come back to the game and like make different decisions and get different outcomes. I did play this on stream, and I am considering making a playthrough edit of that. It's a lot of footage. It took me like 60 hours to beat the game, so we'll see how that turns out. But I think it'd just be really fun because it was my first Fallout game ever, and now I'm really excited to play another one. I think we'll play Fallout 4 next. So yes, this is my tier list from all the games I played in 2024. I think I'm surprised to see how many games are on here, and a lot of these games are like, a couple of these games are kind of big too. I think now as like a gaming content creator, I worry that I'm not playing enough stuff in order to like keep up with things, but I'm really proud of myself that I got out of my comfort zone and played different things because those things were fantastic. So that's all the games that I played in 2024. It's definitely a big variety of games, and I'm really proud of myself for getting outside my comfort zone and trying new genres of games, especially games that are so beloved. It doesn't feel like so much of a risk of me trying something and not knowing if I'm gonna like it if it has so much popularity around them. Yeah, if you have any recommendations for games that you really love and are kind of adjacent to the genres of games that were featured in this video, let me know. If you want to hang out with me while playing games, I'm on Twitch, and there are definitely an interesting docket of games that we'll be playing up hopefully the rest of this year. I'm also excited to make some more content here on YouTube because YouTube is the place that I spend most of my time. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Bye!